Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Electoral said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Electoral said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Souk Business Landscape, where we connect the dots between policy, economy, trade, and global diplomacy, sharing Africa's business environment. I am Olumide Shokoya, and of course, I am joined by two very handsome-looking gentlemen, starting from my left. I won't say extreme left, but it's Chooks John Rogers.
Thank you very much, Olumide. Thank you very much for tuning in and being part of this program for today. It's nice being here.
And to my right, we have the institution, the oracle, and the think tank, Dr. Idausa.
For only one person.
3 titles in one.
Olumide, good Nigeria, Chooks. We are the great Nigeria. That's our prayer.
All right, so today we spotlight Nigeria's political evolution as INEC sets stage for next electoral circle with the launch of its continuous voter registration from August 18, a crucial step towards strengthening democratic participation, especially among young first-time voters. Now, on the economic front, the federal government rolls out an ambitious 18 billion naira flood response plan. Yes. Could this bold anticipatory strategy be the difference between disaster and resilience for millions of vulnerable Nigerians in high-risk states as climate threats intensifies? In trade space, Nigeria finds itself in an unusual position as a net importer of crude oil from the United States. This shift, driven by refinery dynamics and the rise of Dangote refinery, challenges conventional energy trade flows and raises questions about long-term energy self-sufficiency. Diplomatically, tensions rise as U.S. lawmakers push to reassess relations with South Africa, citing Pretoria's perceived tilt towards rivals like Russia and China. A bill now on the table could reshape the contours of U.S.-Africa engagement in the gains traction. Now, in a major global deal, the United Kingdom and India are on the brink of finalizing a £4.8 billion free trade agreement poised to redefine post-Brexit economic ties between the two Commonwealth giants. Stay with us as we unpack these developments and explore their implications. This is Souk Business Landscape, where market meets meaning. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, we start off. Stay tuned.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Electoral said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk business landscape.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Electoral said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen promises. See something, see something. This is Souk business landscape.
On the 19th of August 2025, Paris will come alive with the prestigious People's Choice Governors Awards taking place at the Gauche Hotel, Paris. The prestigious People's Choice Governors Awards is designed to celebrate governors who have contributed immensely to their states in different countries across the world. If you are a governor who's gone above and beyond to deliver transformative projects in your state and country, then this award is for you. To partake of the Governor's Excellence Awards this year taking place in Paris, all you have to do is send an email to souqnexus.com with the words, "I accept," and we will get right back to you. You can also send a WhatsApp message to the WhatsApp number scrolling on your screen right now. You don't want to miss Paris for anything, and we are looking forward to celebrating you and your achievements this year. So contact Souqnexus to make that happen.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
He said he's going to be putting a Nigerian label, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen promises. See something, see something. This is Souk business landscape.
Welcome back to Souk Business Landscape. You're here for insight on policy, trade, economy, and diplomacy shaping Africa's business scene. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced its continuous voter registration CVR for 2025-2026 electoral cycle will begin on August 18, offering both online and in-person options. Online pre-registration opens first, followed by physical enrollment from August 25 at INEC offices and designated centers nationwide. Now, the exercise targets newly eligible voters, especially those who recently turned 18, and also accommodate card replacement, data corrections, and voter transfers. INEC warned against multiple registrations and bribery, emphasizing that the CVR is essential to expanding voter inclusion and strengthening Nigeria's democratic process. Joining us live via Zoom on Souk Business Landscape today is Rotimi Oyekomi. He is the Chief Press Secretary to INEC Chairman. So glad to have you this morning, Rotimi Oyekomi.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
All right, so let's start off. Yes, INEC is prepared to register newly eligible voters who have just turned 18. But let's start from the beginning. How do you think people now perceive INEC, the electoral process, looking at the just concluded local government elections and also the presidential elections in 2023? What would you say Nigerians' perception has been? Has it been positive? Has it been negative? How far would you say it has gone?
Thank you very much for having me. This is a question I've had to answer several times, and each time I have this opportunity, I try to put everything in context. But first of all, the Commission does not conduct local government elections in the states. The states have their own individual electoral commission. The only place where INEC conducts area council election is in the Federal Capital Territory. That's the only place where we have the mandate to conduct area council elections. For 2023 general election, I think, with the benefit of hindsight, that it was the most well-planned election in the country ever. And everything was deployed, and we tried our best. It wasn't a perfect election by no means. And when you hear people make comments, it depends on who you are listening to. It's a culture of politicians in this country and supporters of political parties to praise INEC when their party and candidate win elections, But when they lose elections, then they vilify the commission. So we are used to that. We've been going through that since 1999. But I think with 2023, there are several dimensions that were not available before. The first one was the bimodal voter accreditation system, which worked perfectly up to 95%. What does the BVAS do? The BVAS authenticate and accredit voters through fingerprint and facials. It ensures that there is no proxy voting. If it's not you, then it's not you. And then it also ensures that you vote at the polling unit where you registered. And then we have other apps that we deployed. And then, of course, we had the INEC result viewing portal. Yes, we had a glitch, which is common. Even as we are speaking on this Zoom, we could have a glitch at any time. People who use handsets, they use phones. The phones run into a glitch at regular periods. People use apps like Facebook, like Instagram. There was a time when Facebook was down for 24 hours, including all the associated apps. So technology is nice, but it's not a silver bullet. So we've learned our lesson. And when we had that glitch, after a few hours, we were able to upload those results. Those results are there as I speak. But I think that Nigerians misunderstood certain things when we are conducting the 2020 general election. The IREF, which is called the INEC Result Viewing Portal, note the name, INEC Result Viewing. People thought it was electronic voting, it was electronic collation of results, but that wasn't what we were trying to do. We were just posting from EC8A, individual polling unit results, as posted by the presiding officer from the polling unit and then to the IREF. What IREF does is to receive this individual election result from the polling units and display as is without tampering with anything. But I think now people understand what we are trying to say. After all the emotions, after all the criticism, I think people have been able to see that what we are trying to do was right and there was no rigging, because the nature of the law does not permit us to rig. You know, everything is stated in the Constitution. And we have put so many things in place that if you try to rig, it triggers a lot of things from our side. But people don't get to see a lot of things that we do.
Mr. Good morning for being on the show this morning. I want you to throw more light on the statement you just made that INEC does not conduct local government election. Does it mean that the state have their own different electoral register? Because one of the issues that were at the front of conversation in Lagos were people who went out to go vote that Saturday. Many of them couldn't find their name on the register. Is it that the state maintain a different voters register from what INEC has?
No. The states do not have a different register of voters. Let me tell you what we have in common. When states Independent Electoral Commission, otherwise known as CX, have the mandate to organize local government elections at their level in each of the states. So as we speak, we have 36 CX, conducting their respective local government election when the time comes. But they use our register of voters because there is only one national register of voters, and the commission is the custodian of that register. And then they also use our polling units. Our polling units are public property. It's not INEC property. So we have 176,846 polling units across Nigeria. And in each state, we have the polling units specific to those states. So what CX do is when they want to conduct election, they ask us for the register, and we make that available to them. And then they also make use of our polling units. And that's the extent. We don't supervise them. We don't oversee what they do. They conduct the election, declare their results, and whoever has issues with the result can then appeal the court in the respective states.
Okay, let me come back again to you. Sorry, you just spoke about the way we behave when we lose or we win. Very bad loser in some cases, and then we also have people who, when they win, they also take it somehow overboard. But looking at the political culture in Nigeria, is there anything that INEC is also doing to educate so that we can actually deepen democracy from the party structure before we actually come to the election. Because really, democracy is not about the regular election that happen every 4 years. Actually, what happened preceding that, and say that from all the electoral controversies, court cases, there are more pre-election issues because party don't do the right thing. What is INEC actually doing to educate party leadership on how to actually conduct themselves to have a real democracy that works?
Well, I'm sorry. You see, this is part of what I'm saying. I'm struggling to hear you because your voice was like breaking as you were speaking. So I didn't quite get what you said. So kindly repeat. What
I'm saying is, what is INEC doing to educate party executive, maybe in form of capacity building, to help them manage themselves before general election or state elections, so that we don't have plenty of pre-election issues after the elections?
Well, I really don't know what to do. I'm finding it very, very difficult to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me? Let me project on his behalf.
Now, it's going off and on. Maybe it's the position the gentleman is sitting, I don't know.
He was asking what exactly is INEC doing to educate not just the populace, but right now, party people, party organizations, those within the party, so that we don't just have preparation for election, but between the period of election is over, between that 4 years, let them know that it's not just the election that determines who the leader is, but what happens within the party, so that we'll get to reduce litigation and all the squabbles that happen after election. What form of education is INEC having or doing for party people?
Fantastic, fantastic. I've had that now. Let me break it down for you. First of all, we have a robust communication strategy. And what do I mean by that? We have what we call a quarterly stakeholders meeting, where we meet our critical stakeholders, leaders of political parties. We meet with the civil society. We meet with the media. We meet with the security agencies. And what do we discuss? We discuss fundamental issues that relate to the electoral system, electoral administration, especially the political parties. And right now, as I speak, we are helping political party members in Anambra State on how to upload their candidates to the portal. And we communicate with them all the time. And our doors are always open to all party leaders to approach us if there are issues. So they have all the information that they need. Now, let me tell you one of the fundamental problems with election. The pre-election cases are fiercer and more than the post-election cases. Unfortunately, some of these parties, or probably many of them, have issues when they conduct party primaries. INEC does not conduct party primaries, but we have the duty and obligation to monitor the party primaries. Now, each political party has its own constitutions, rules, and regulations, and we have copies of these rules. The parties are expected to follow these rules, but do they follow the rules? Well, each time they conduct primary election, you always have aggrieved members of the same party approaching the courts to ventilate their grievances. And that, of course, sometimes affects our elections. You find that when a case is in court, for instance, and we are conducting election, we will put the party's name there. Yeah, that's what we do. We don't put individual names there. Of course, we are required to upload the final list of candidates for everybody to see. But if there's litigation, we then avoid a situation where we will breach the order of court or whatever it is. So we communicate all the time. And then we have a robust social media machine. We are on Twitter, X now, sorry. We're on Facebook, we are on Instagram, we're everywhere. And I think that without being immodest, our X page is one of the most active in the country. If you go there every day or almost every day, we post things there. So our doors are open, we communicate, and the political party members know, their leaders know that if there are issues, they can always reach out to INEC.
Now, still on this issue of education, just like the Oracle himself have said, let's now open up aside party people, everybody, me inclusive. We get to see a lot of information and disinformation, misinformation all around. How is INEC working out to make sure that, like your orientation right now for registration and all that, how are you trying to make sure that everybody within the borders of Nigeria is educated and know that it is registration time? How to register, where to register? Are you collaborating with National Orientation Agency or the State Ministry of Information, or the entire budget and cost is coming from INEC?
Very much. We collaborate with so many agencies, the NOA, the Federal Ministry of Information, and especially our partners. We have several civil society organizations, especially those at the grassroots level, that help us with this. You know, the task is extremely big and huge, and we cannot do it alone. Even if we, for instance, deploy all the resources the government gives to INEC to publicity and media campaign, it will still not be enough. Remember, 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. So we take advantage of a number of things. We use the social media a lot because we know that our young brothers and sisters are on social media almost every time. So like I said, if you check our X page as I speak, you will see something on the CVR. We start the sensitization. Then we have radio programs running in the States especially. We have radio programs in vernacular, and we have radio programs in English. And of course, at the national level, we also deploy what we call face-to-face contact with stakeholders all the time. We honor interviews like this to explain what we are doing to Nigerians, and then we issue press statements. The issue of misinformation and disinformation, that is very, very common. In fact, in the last 3 months, we've had to issue at least 2 press statements to debunk fake news about the commencement of the continual voter registration. And that happens all the time. It's like when we conduct election, before you know it, somebody will post the result of the election that probably was being collated and say, this is who has won the election. And that's why we say that, look, that's against the law. And if you announce the result of election before INEC and you are caught, you are going to face the consequences. So I think fake news is one huge problem that every institution in this country and even individuals are dealing with. And what we do is when people put out what is not right, mostly motivated by wanting to make profit, we come out to debunk immediately by whatever means possible.
All right, thank you very much, Oyekomi. Also, still on voter education, what is INEC doing in terms of persons with disabilities? Is INEC making available format accessibles for persons with disabilities?
In fact, the Electoral Act 2022 has a clause that not only should INEC register persons with disability, they should be disaggregated by type of disability. In other words, when we release the register of voters, we must release information about the types of disability of those who have registered. And we did that for 2023. If you check our details for 2023, you will see persons with hearing impairment, persons with sight challenge, persons with disability of various forms. We do that. And again, like I said, we work with partners. There are civil society organizations that focus mainly on the rights of persons with disability. And we have a very good working relationship with them. When we meet with civil society, we discuss issues pertaining to their interests. And in our elections that we've conducted in recent time, and in fact, several elections in the past, we have had to make provision for persons with disability. For instance, we had to configure our polling units in such a manner that persons on the wheelchair are able to cast their ballot with ease. And we also have policies when we are having our election. Our presiding officers must recognize any person with disability and bring the person straight to the front of the queue. And of course, Nigerians have been very cooperative. Once they see somebody on wheelchair, an elderly person, for instance, a visibly pregnant woman, and all that, they give us space to do that, and everything will go smoothly. But like I said, working with partners that focus on persons with disability has helped a lot, because they then communicate what we are trying to say to their people. And again, we use social media because we know also persons with disability are on social media. And then we use other means of communication, radio, TV, we have the INEC app hour. And of course, we can do more, and we are open to collaborating with other people. Like I said earlier, we also have a relation with the National Orientation Agency, and we've been doing that for as many electoral cycles as possible.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Oyekami. Just before Doctor comes in, now you have two types of registration. You have the online registration and the physical registration. What are the differences? Is there any significance or distinction?
Fantastic. You know, in our bid to innovate and make it easier for Nigerians to register, the last CVR that we conducted between 2021 and 2022, we introduced the online version. And what does this mean? It means that you can apply online by going to our portal and upload your details. But then you will still need to validate these details at the registration center when these centers are announced. But the good thing is that when you get to the registration center, you won't have to start everything all over again. You just produce your slip or the barcode that you generate after registering, and then your information pops up, and then you validate because we have to take your 10 fingerprints. That's why you need to go to our various approved registration centers when they are ready. And for the CVR we conducted between 2021 and 2022, over 1.2 million people registered online. And we expect that this time around is going to be better. And again, as we improve, we will be able to add other things. At the same time, you can also do several other things online. We have services, for instance, you want to transfer your polling unit, you want to replace your lost card, your defaced card, or those who have spelling errors, you can access those services on our portal. And all of these have been there since we introduced them in the last electoral cycle. So I think it's our young people are in for a nice time again. Those who are interested, there are some Nigerians who don't like to go online. They just want to go there physically and register. And that's why we have this two segment on from August 18. We will have this online pre-registration. And you access our portal, you put in your name, your details, your photograph, and then generate something like a barcode that you can then take to our registration center and get the biometrics and your facials done. But if you don't want that, then you can wait till August 25 and go to any of our local government offices and other designated registration center that will be announced in due course to just do a walk-in, get registered, and that's it.
Okay, Mr. Oyekami, still talking about the CRV. What are the things that potential registrants or people who want to update their data with you need to take to registration point, or even they are going online?
Well, I don't know what is it about that your side. When you are speaking, the things break, so I didn't quite hear that. I'm really sorry, honestly.
So what doctor is saying is what documents are required if you want to go and register?
Oh, well, these things are even stated in the Electoral Act. You need a form of ID because the Constitution gives condition for registration as a voter. First of all, the Constitution says you must be a Nigerian and you must be 18 years old and you must live in the area where you want to register. Those are three basic things among others. So when you are going, you need to convince our official that you are actually a Nigerian and that you are 18 years old or above, or you are 18 or you are above 18. So what do you take there? You can, if you have a driver's license, that's acceptable. If you have the NIN card, ID card, that's acceptable. If you have your birth certificate, that's acceptable. If you have a form of ID, international passport is also acceptable. So I'm sure there are plans to expand that. But again, you know that if you don't regulate the form, if you don't strictly regulate the form of ID that must be presented to be registered, it's very possible for foreigners. We've had that in the past where we discovered foreigners from the neighboring African countries, Nigeria Republic, Republic of Benin, registering as voters, but the immigrations were able to sort them out after some time.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi. Now, Souqnews is a business development and economy focused station. And so that is where we are heading to now. Let's talk money. In 2025, INEC you proposed a budget of 126 billion. As we speak right now, you've been involved in several elections this year alone, so you are hot already. Quick one, have you gotten your allocation for this year?
Well, there are different types of allocation. There is the envelope allocation, which we get every year. And that one is used for the administration of the commission. But we also have the election budget. You know, when we want to conduct elections, for instance, we are about to conduct several by-elections in about 12 states. And those elections were due some time ago. We could not mobilize because we didn't have the resources. So, and I will explain that to you. By-elections are unpredictable. For instance, at the beginning of a National Assembly life, you cannot predict who is going to resign or who is going to die. We don't pray for people to die, but people die. Now, what the law says is that when a lawmaker dies and a vacancy is declared by the presiding officer, whether in the Senate, whether in the Federal House of Representatives, whether in the State Assembly, once the presiding officer, declares vacancy and notifies INEC in writing, we are obliged to conduct election within a frame of time. But unfortunately, it is not always easy because of funds. But we don't have any other funding agency apart from the federal government. So we approach the federal government and we go to the National Assembly and we appear before committees and ask for this money. So when we ask for this money, we are asked questions. It's gone to debate appropriations committee on INEC, and then the Federal Minister of Finance. Eventually, when it is approved, the budget is released to us. So for the by-elections, we have received the money for that. I don't know exactly how much was given to us, but we are good. We have announced the timetable. I think August 16 is when we are going to conduct those by-elections in as many states. And of course, we have not received the money for 2027 general election. In fact, what the law says is that we should receive the money at least 1 year before the election. So we're expecting that the election will take place in February 2027. We expect that the federal government will make the money available at least by February 2026.
Just a follow-up to this money questions. When it gets to money, we have to really shine our eyes. Nigerian parents. How independent can INEC be if you have to depend on this amount of processes where you have some emergencies to deal with and you have to wait for people to make certain approvals that might not really be in your best interest? How does that affect your independence?
Very well. The Constitution protects us. If you read the Constitution, it gives us the protection that we need. That the federal government or the National Assembly cannot in any way, are not permitted in any way to influence our decision. It's right there in the Constitution. And as far as I know, all our decisions, when we decide when we organize elections, we manage the electoral system, we declare our results, we determine the timetable and schedule of activities. There is no pressure from anywhere to say, do it this way, do it that way. It's not even possible. Because in this world of social media, people will get to know. For instance, once we declare the timetable and schedule of activities for any election, it becomes a legally binding document. You cannot change anything in that timetable, except under certain conditions also stipulated in the Constitution. So that's how tough it is. And when you look at these laws, you realize that INEC is fully protected and nobody can actually, put pressure on us to do what is not right. So we are independent. As for the funding, that's what the law says. The law, the same Constitution says the federal government shall make this money available to us. We can't collect money from foreign bodies, for instance. That would be against the spirit of the Constitution and the spirit of independence. So for all the elections...
Sorry to please hold that thought. Let's quickly go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue with the program.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souq business landscape.
Over the past 10 years, we've seen that the impact of many lawmakers have been underrated. If you are playing a pivotal role in enacting laws and shaping policies for your community, society, or nation, then this is for you. The People's Choice Legislative Excellence Award celebrates the individual achievement of lawmakers who have worked tirelessly to enhance the lives of their constituents and contribute positively to their entire well-being. Now, if you're wondering where this will be taking place, it will be taking place at Radisson Blu Dubai Creek on the 25th of September 2025. To take part in this award, all you have to do is send an email to souqnexus.com or send a message to the WhatsApp number scrolling on your screen. We want to see you at Radisson Blu Dubai Creek. Wouldn't you rather be there?
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
It said it's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff? Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souq business landscape.
Welcome back to Souk Business Landscape. We're still discussing voter education, voter. And of course, we have our special guest via Zoom. He is Rotimi Oyekomi, the Chief Press Secretary to INEC Chairman. So glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oyekomi. I want to find out, do you require any amendment to your act to enforce the use of NIN for all registrants so that we can be able to tie people to their identity to participate in the electoral process?
Okay, I missed the first part, but I think you were talking about integrating our database with NIN.
Yes.
You said?
Yes.
Like I said, the architecture of our activities and what we do is guided by the law, the 1999 Constitution and the Electoral Act. The constitutions give INEC the mandate to register voters and manage and update the register of voters. So we have that mandate. Of course, we are working closely with NIN, but for you to say we should probably jettison our register of voters and key into NIN, you have to do something about the Constitution. And you also need to think very deeply about the implications of that. So for the purpose of election, INEC needs to have its own database. And we have one of the largest, if not the largest, database of voters in Africa, because we have over 90 million registered voters with all fingerprints captured. So it's really detailed, it's reliable, and it can be called upon anytime for the government. It's a resource that Nigerians have, and the federal government can make use of at any time that they want. So, like I said, NIN we are good with NIN. We've had meetings. We are integrating our resources. We are cooperating. So there is no discord between us and NIPSI at all.
Yeah, because it also will help to a very large extent to enhance the trust factor for INEC, because we have a lot of people talking about underage voting, people talking about people who are not registered and they are borrowing PVC to vote and all that. Because if we also need to do that, a kind of amendment to the Electoral Act or even to the Constitution, so that we can be sure that the people who are registering, they actually qualify to vote by age, not just by the biometrics alone, because we need to know exact age of people who are voting and their age. And secondly, I also want to find out, why is it that INEC do not intervene enough in intra-party crisis to even just put a voice out? Take, for example, we have two issues people dealing with. People are moving parties. And the law says that, of course, you have to be in a party for 1 year before you can conduct elections. And there are a whole lot of backdoor dealing, and these are all in the public space. Why is INEC not intervening to let people know? For example, we also have a Supreme Court judgment on Labour Party recently, and yet we don't know who is their leader, and the party itself is confused. Why is INEC not speaking up?
Thank you very much. The first question with the trust issue with the register of voters. Let me say something to you. I think majority of Nigerians have trust issues with any public institution, not just INEC. In fact, let me also say this to you. When Nigerians go to the bank and withdraw money from ATM, they will still count the money. So they don't even trust the ATM machine. They will still count the money. People withdraw 5,000, 10,000, they will count it. I always wonder why. Why can't you just collect the money and put it inside your pocket? He said, I don't trust the machine to dispense the exact amount. So, and maybe I shouldn't blame them, maybe because of disappointments over the years from many public institutions and this suspicion that people will not do the right thing. But that, remember, for 2019 general election, we used what we call the smart card reader to accredit and authenticate voters. This smart card reader was very good in 2015 when it was introduced. And in 2019, it also performed the function, but we discovered a flaw. It was difficult for some people's fingerprints to be identified properly. leading to the introduction of incidence form. This incidence form, unfortunately, was greatly abused. And people were circumventing it because, okay, if you go to the polling unit under an election condition where there is tension, you have little time, so people want to get on with it. You say, okay, if my fingerprint is not reading, give me incident form. Because there was that provision, it was abused. That was why the commission introduced the bimodal voter accreditation system. What does that do? The BVAS has the additional layer of facial recognition. Now, if you come and you test your fingers and the prints there are not being read, you have to go to facial. That you cannot miss. It's either your face or it's not your face, because you can't leave your face at home and come to the polling unit. So that alone has now made it impossible for anybody to vote by proxy. And you remember that towards 2023, people started dumping PVCs in forests, as construction sites, and Nigerians were blaming INEC. Nigeria did not know that some of those that had harvested those PVCs with the intention of using them the way they used them in previous elections, now discover that they cannot do that because beavers will find them out. And that's why you find that those is also a factor when people say turn out to vote. You know, some of the figures that you were seeing were probably possible because of some of these flaws. But now that beavers is in place, it is only those who turn out to vote that will be allowed to vote. And when you see the results, you don't see landslide victories, like somebody will score 1 million and the next person will score 100. No, the margin of lead is getting narrower and narrower in our elections. So you then know that it's always a tight race. And that's why vote buying has also gone up, because when people cannot buy PVCs and make use of them by proxy persons, you know, they now go to the voters themselves and attempt to bribe them. They come to our officials, it's difficult. They now go to the field. That's why vote buying went up again. So, but Nigerians are not really looking at some of these things that we have been able to achieve. Now, let's come to our party affairs. You know, by the nature of things, although INEC regulates political parties, but INEC cannot decide their internal activities for them. They have their own constitution, and their constitution gives direction on what should be done. For instance, their constitution will state clearly how to elect ESCO members. What do you do to elect the national chairman, the secretaries, and all other executive officers? And the law says that you should have a convention. And when you're having this convention, INEC must be notified. INEC must monitor. If INEC does not monitor, the result of that election is null and void. Okay, so what are we talking about? If there are 2 or 3 factions in a political party, and then they go to court, it's their internal affair. It's not INEC. The only thing INEC does is to invite them for alternative dispute resolution meeting, which we have done. Actually, we have done that a lot. With respect to the Labour Party, we have called all the principal actors. There are 3 factions. We call all the 3 factions. We discuss with them. They will agree when they are with us. But when they go back out there, they return to their trenches. And then when people decide to go to court, you can't touch it anymore. You leave it. So I think it's also very sad that you have some of these issues, you know, in political parties. And these are part of what we discuss with them. I wish you could attend our meeting with political parties. INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yaku, will plead with them that, look, Nigerians are watching you. When all these crises keep festering in your political parties, it's exhausting. We are not happy because it complicates matters. Do you know how many court cases INEC is dragging to on the average? We receive court summon every time because whenever they go to court, they join INEC. So we have about 5 senior advocates. They go to court every day, which is quite tiring. So my appeal, and the appeal of the commission really, is that political parties should please follow their own rules. If you look at their constitution, and you can download their constitution from our website, everything is clear. But what then happens is that somehow some people circumvent those rules and the agreed ones now go to court and it becomes an issue.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi Oyekomi. So, talking about accountability, are there any mechanisms or systems that allow citizens to report any misconduct or irregularities that happen during voter registration or electoral process?
Fantastic. Thank you for this question. Yes, of course. We have what we call the INEC Contact Center, right? ICCC, where we have about 15 to 20 telephone lines that people can call in to complain. During the last CBR that we had between 2021 and 2022, I personally received some complaints which I acted on. You can reach out via our social media handles, via X, via Facebook, and Instagram. You just need to post to us, this is what is happening. In fact, in one of the northern states, and not just northern states, one of the southwest states too, in the last CBR, where some of our officials were collecting money from voters. And some of the young people just sent a message to us that this is what is happening. And we notified the resident electoral commissioner, and he left his office and went straight to that center and got that staff out. So, you know, when you have a large number of people working, people don't have the same character. There are some that will step out of line. But the good thing is that in INEC, the rules are known. If you step out of line, you know what the consequences will be. Because if you are caught, and it's likely that you are going to be caught, you have to face the consequences. So Nigerians are free, and Nigerians are so good at doing that. People even record videos discreetly of people, of maybe one or two of our staff doing the wrong thing at centers, and they report to us. And because those who may want to go, you know, over and above the rules, know that in this age of social media, somebody can film you. There are cameras that are just like pen. Somebody puts a pen on his chest, but what you don't know is that there's a camera there that is actually looking at what you are doing. So everybody is being careful. And of course, the information we also give to people is that the PVC does not cost any amount of money. You are not expected to pay anything for PVC. It is free of charge. And for any of our services, whether to transfer your PVC, whether to apply for lost card or defaced card, or the ones that the spellings are incorrect, maybe your date of birth or name or surname is not well captured, it is free of charge.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, in continuation with what Molumide said, now he asked complaints. Let's talk about INEC staff. Over time, be it doing registration, be it doing election itself, we've seen a lot of harm being melted out to INEC staff, even the corpers that participate. Does INEC have any form of insurance to any staff they are sending out to the field?
My brother, and this is a very sore point, and I'm happy you are one of the very few media organizations that has ever cared to ask this question. I really thank you for that, because when elections are conducted, politicians are interested only in the results, and people talk about the result. People don't imagine for a moment that we may have casualties coming out of this election, and we do have casualties because you have a situation where our staff are attacked at the polling unit or at the collation centers. The same politicians send thugs to the polling unit to harass people and to make sure things don't take place. That's why we always need to work with security agencies to secure the election. That's why we have what we call the Inter-Consultative Committee on Election Security. We meet regularly, quarterly, and as the time demands, to make sure that our elections are secure, because if you don't do that, you are likely to be attacked by these rogue elements. But yes, we have insurance scheme for all adult staff. We have for our staff, and we have for all adult staff, comprehensive, that covers all manner of injury, whether attack from these rogue elements or road accident, or even you fall sick immediately. It's a comprehensive thing. And I know that for the last general election, a lot of those who were affected have been paid. I don't know to what extent. I will need to check when I get to the office. But I know the last time we discussed that many of them have been processed because, of course, when this happens and you need to get your claims, there are documents that insurance companies will require. And it depends now on how fast the complainant or the victim in this case can mobilize these documents to make sure that these things are. But we care very much about our ad hoc. Remember, the ad hoc staff consist mainly of members of the National Youth Service Corps, without whom we cannot conduct elections. And they have made our elections credible, and we thank them for it. And they are the most reliable ad hoc staff that we can ever have. So we care about them. These are young graduates, intelligent people, our sons and daughters, and we must care very much about their welfare.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, before the 2023 elections, you had about 87,209,007 PVCs that were collected. Then you also had about 6,259,229 that were not collected. Now, for these PVCs that are not collected, I know for me, I got SMS. And most people got SMS. Thank you very much. Now, for these ones that are not collected, what happens to them?
Well, it's hard. It's a variety of things, and we are trying very hard to get people to collect their PVCs. What usually happens from our field studies is that, people move around a lot in this country. Somebody might be living in Oyo State or in Bauchi State, and maybe there's a job opportunity in Cross River State, and he goes after that job opportunity, then he leaves the area where he registered, where he's supposed to collect his PVC. It then becomes a problem for him, looking at the cost element and all of that, to leave the place where he has relocated to go back and collect the PVC. And people have suggested that we should be posting these PVCs to people, which is a good idea. But Nigeria is a peculiar place. There was a time in this country when INEC was accused of giving PVCs to third parties on behalf of voters. For instance, there was a time they said, when we are conducting one of the off-season governorship elections, there were serious allegations that one traditional ruler came to our office and collected PVCs en masse and took them away. So, as you cannot register by proxy, we also make sure that you are the owner, the rightful owner that collects the PVC, to avoid this kind of conspiracy theories. Of course, in other places like the United Kingdom, you can register and they can post anything to you. The system is unique. But in Nigeria, it is not always like that. You always have people who always want to circumvent the rule of law, who always want to do the unthinkable. And we also need to protect the process so that the PVCs do not go to the wrong thing. But like I said, I think with all the discussions taking place, all the suggestions coming up, we'll find a balance. People have a right to get their PVCs. But mostly, if you check, some of those who have not collected their PVCs, when it is time for general election, people turn up more. Or when people are interested, like we are having Anambra governorship election now, you are likely to record more collection in Anambra State. And when we have Ekiti and Osun next year, you are likely to also witness an upsurge towards that election. At the same time, when we are going to 2027, when we throw that open, you now have people coming more to collect the PVC. But again, if you check the number of registered voters vis-a-vis the number of all collected PVCs, you see that a lot of PVCs are actually in the hands of Nigeria more than those that have not collected theirs.
Thank you so very much for these insightful clarifications on some of the issues that has to do with INEC. In the last American election, one of the issues that was very prevalent was the fact that people who were dead were seen to have voted. Are there also provision for on your website that when I have a relative who is no longer alive, how do I alert INEC and also deactivate those cards that they are no longer numbered among the PVC that are active?
Oh, thank you so much for this question. In fact, let me start with the CVR that we are conducting. We have finished the PV. We have the national CVR coming up But we've also done the Anambra specific CVR, which has closed for people who want to vote in the Anambra governorship election. The process usually is that when we complete the CVR, we will now make provision for claims and objections. What do I mean by that? We will produce, after all the processes, we will produce the interim register of voters and paste them at various wards. And then we encourage Nigerians to please look at the register. If they see anybody that they think shouldn't be on the register by virtue of their personal knowledge, maybe they see that this particular person is not up to the age he's claiming, or this particular person is not a Nigerian, they should report to us. And like I said, some of the foreigners that we are reported that some of the foreigners that the immigration were able to pull out were as a result of the information given to them by patriotic Nigerians. You know, so like I said, we have several platforms through which people can communicate. And I receive a lot of information from Nigerians. People DM me privately to say, look, this is happening here. And there is no complaint that I see that I don't take action. And I would, if for instance, we start the CVR and I receive information on Facebook or Twitter that somebody is collecting money somewhere, I will immediately get in touch with the resident electoral commissioner and also get in touch with the electoral officer in charge of that place. Look at this word. This is a complaint that we have received. And they will investigate. If it is true, they will tell us. If it's a false alarm, they will tell us. So these things are there. So the same way, for people who are not supposed to vote, the opportunity will come for you to complain when we paste the interim register of voters before we now announce the final figure. That look, help us look at this information. Point out to us who you think should not be on this register so that we can take action. And when people do that, we do take action, and some of those actions have brilliant results. And we also publicize all these things. So please, I want to urge you, gentlemen, if you are not following INEC on Twitter, Facebook, please do so, because a lot of information that we churn in every day will enlighten you on some of our activities.
All right, Mr. Rotimi Oyekomi, in less than 30 seconds, I want you to answer this. How soon can Nigerians expect a transition from manual to fully electronic voting?
It depends on the law. Look at the Constitution. The Constitution does not recognize electronic voting. So that needs to be fixed. In fact, we are IT compliant, we are technology compliant, and we are ready for electronic voting. The register of voters is online, you know. So we have done, like, we upload from the polling unit to IREF. We have gone electronic in most of our activities, but the final one has to be the amendment of the Constitution. Once the Constitution is amended and we are given the go-ahead, it will be a smooth transition. But let me also warn, technology is good, but it's not a silver bullet. We need to be careful. We need to make haste slowly.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Rotimi Oyekomi, Chief Press Secretary to INEC Chairman. You have been brilliant. We do hope to expect another conversation from you again.
Thank you so much for having me and for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Welcome. All right, it's still Souk Business Landscape. We're going on a short break, and when we come back, we continue. Stay tuned.
Take Nigeria, because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Electoral said is going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.
To those of you we no vote last time, because say you don't get PVC, you don't get excuse again, no? Wait, I can give you the gist. This, na front desk. INEC don announce a continuous voter registration. It go start on August 18. Now, so my people, if you dey eligible to vote and you never register, no sit down, make slippers wear you. Now your chance to make your own statement instead of to make noise on top social media. The registration will happen online and for all INEC offices nationwide, states, local government areas, everywhere. That one means say you fit register when it makes sense for you. But wait, make you hear this one. We will give you small for body. For the year 2023, over 93 million Nigerians that they register to vote. But now only around 25 million actually show face on election day. That's now less than 30% of people and at the lowest way Nigeria don't ever see since 1999. You believe her? So the real cocoa be this. Not be only to register, use them, vote. But wait, the remaining 68 million people, what you want to take on a BBC do? I mean, it only work for 18. Now how we fit design the kind of Nigeria we really want? So, no dollar more. Mark your calendar. August 18, go register. They involved. Make we help Nigeria forward. This, now facts, as you supposed to see them.
Hello Nigeria, hello Africa. Yeah, this is Sound Man. Keep watching Souqnews.
My name is Babalola from Excel LED. Keep watching Souqnews.
My name is Shepherd Michael Adewale Onofuye. I enjoy you all to watch, always watch Souqnews TV.
Hi, I'm Tom Bogaballs, and please keep watching Souqnews.
Wale Seriki, SLG Lagos Island East, Souqnews. Keep out watching them and keep a lookout for them. They're up and coming, and we're proudly to be affiliated with them.
You alone where they make me go crazy. This your love in the cool of my brain. You're my medicine, I need you all day. Yo, it's Blackface Nigeria and you're watching Souqnews TV. Keep it locked on this dial, don't change it. You know what I say? Blackface Nigeria, love no bad.
On the 19th of August 2025, Paris will come alive with the prestigious People's Choice Governors Awards taking place at the Gauche Hotel, Paris. The prestigious People's Choice Governors Awards is designed to celebrate governors who have contributed immensely to their states in different countries across the world. If you are a governor who's gone above and beyond to deliver transformative projects in your state and country, then this award is for you. To partake of the Governor's Excellence Awards this year taking place in Paris, all you have to do is send an email to souqnexus.com with the words, I accept, and we will get right back to you. You can also send a WhatsApp message to the WhatsApp number scrolling on your screens right now. You don't want to miss Paris for anything, and we are looking forward to celebrating you and your achievements this year. So contact Souqnexus to make that happen.
Welcome to Femi Walsh Limited, owners of Souq TV Lagos, Our Radio Lagos, Kaswa Radio Kano, and of course, Emirates TV Abuja and Dubai. Our niche market for media is business, economy, and development. At Femi Walsh, we promote your company's products and services using our world-class facilities. From our radio to Souq TV, what you get is nothing but the best of the very best.
And if you're looking for the premium production firm for your events and corporate coverage, think no further, because we offer you the best of industry stuff.
With high-definition cameras ranging from 4K to 8K multicam setups, high-directional microphones, and real-time streaming encoders, we give you a production like none other. And if you're looking to produce podcasts, adverts, and documentaries, our team of experts will ensure that you convey your message clearly and professionally. Femi Walsh, Global Vision, Local Impact.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
Said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souq business landscape.
welcome back to Souk Business Landscape. Let's take the second story for today. The federal government has launched an 18 billion naira anticipatory action framework under its National Flood Emergency Preparedness and Response Plan. Now, this strategy, driven by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and supported by NEMA, aims to reduce the impact of seasonal flooding on vulnerable communities across 31 high-risk states in Nigeria. This proactive approach includes early warning systems, pre-positioning of relief materials, and community sensitization programs, especially in flood-prone regions like Benue, Anambra, Bayelsa. Authorities say the move will protect over 4 million people ahead of the peak rainfall and help reduce emergency response costs by up to 50%. Chooks, let me start with you. Last year, a particular state, half of a particular state went underwater. A lot of money went into that state. Donations went into that state. Till now, we do not know what happened. Do you think this is different? How with the National Emergency Agency, Humanitarian Affairs, how would they make sure that these monies is being utilized across these 31 states effectively?
Okay, for all what has happened till this particular story we are looking at right now is reactionary. It happens, they will now start looking for, okay, how do we save the lives that are not lost yet after losing a lot of people and property. But right now we are looking at, from the story, we are looking at how do we start mitigating before it happens itself, which is more important. Very, very welcomed. Now, for those living all the way from Bayelsa, getting down into River Niger, but Delta, Anambra, down to Benue, crossing down to Niger State, that is an area that is we are not just looking at flood prone right now. We start now asking ourselves questions. How can we start damming? Or how can we start breaking dams down? How can we get people to go upland? But another thing you ask yourself, are you going to tell people that have lived in ancestral homes to move away because of flood? Environmental issues are here with us. Now the government is thinking ahead and trying to plan. Let's see this plan come true. But most importantly, whatever the plan it is, let it involve the real people that are going through this, not just office and symposium or conference issues.
Doc, what's your thought on this?
Well, I think the initiatives are good. We continue to spend money as long as human beings will refuse to be much more decent in terms of how we deal with our environment. And I think these are real issues that there's no amount of money that federal government is going to put on the ground that will be able to address the issue of flooding in Nigeria. And one of the things that should be able to do that is actually when we'll have sufficient enlightenment of people who block natural water channels. And these are the problems that most states are facing. There's no planning. We don't channel waters well and appropriately. And so when the state is not planned, what you find, the water, as the flood comes or the rain falls, then the flood run riot. So, but I think that beyond these measures of putting money in by humanitarian ministry to address people who are victims, and I think the real cause of this flooding is what we need to address. And if we see a water channel, for example, that is cutting deep, what we need to do, we'll find a way to see how to channel that, pile it up and ensure that it does not degrade. And that investment in those flood-prone areas is what really will make a lot of difference. Because if you are preparing to receive victims every year, at the end of the day, I'm not saying you're doing solving a problem, but ensuring that there are no victims at all will make a lot of sense. The rainy season is already here, floods are already here. So this thing should be done much earlier during the dry season than during the wet season. So we plan these things. I said, what is the root cause of this flood? Where's the natural channel of this water? Where should it be going to? And how can we rechannel this water so that the environment are not degraded? And I think that holistic approach to flood management should be what we should be looking at as a country.
Chooks also made mention of how do you get people who have stayed in a particular place for years to leave that place? So how do we get to even sensitize people, educate them that this particular place is prone to flood, you need to move from this place?
You know, a lot is in the hands of the state government because land belongs to the state, as it were. Remember that there was a certain time when Marco became a problem in Lagos, people were relocated. And whether it was the ancestral home or not, but of course, you have to find a place for them where they can have habitation. And I think that is what it is. We need a lot of political will to be able to take some certain decision. And if it's no longer good for their health, it's not good for livelihood, it's not adding value to them, and I'm not sure that they are going to be there. But you see, the problem is that when a problem starts, we allow it to get really bad before we start to intervene. Now, if you get to some places, you see gully that are over 10, 15 feet down. The water has been cutting over the years because nobody's paying attention to it. So we must be very conscious of our environment. And if there's a need for people to move, and I think, of course, government must be able to relocate them, but you have to assign them to a place where they can have some form of habitation. And I have not stopped to argue that as a country, we must begin to think about what every other person is doing elsewhere, vertical real estate development, in such a way that if we have a massive building that can house the entire of the community, then we can do what we want to do in that environment without necessarily having one person stay on a 100 by 60 plot of land. So these are the things that government can begin to think about so that we invest in real estate. As we are putting this kind of money down, can also guarantee real estate investors to come to a certain place and then ensure how government can also support people to be able to afford those houses, and then they live forever in peace, and then we can manage the environment for everybody. I think it's for our good, not only for the government, and people must also be conscious of their health and safety.
All right, coming back to you, Chooks. I remember that long before now, NEMA, at the beginning of the year, they give out flashpoints, they give out cities, they give out warnings that this particular state are going to be prone to flooding. Do you think state government are even actually doing enough, taking proactive measures when these warnings come out?
Yet, sadly, there are some basic facts that when we put them on the table, it beats us and stares us in the face. Okay, what's the worst the state government to do? Creates a camp, an emergency camp for people to move to. I don't know if you're looking at it like that. What will NEMA do? They'll give you a forecast, be it rains, period. There are areas in Nigeria as we speak, thanks to the rising water level. Ilaje is not too far from us here. Some communities have lost half their land. The sea has encroached, even taking homes and secondary schools. You wake up, 2 kilometers is no longer 2 kilometers. It's just a few meters. Now, let's give an example. If you remember Lagos very well, there used to be Babbage. Then Babbage was encroaching. Babbage got to Nitel. Babbage got to Amadou Bello, if you remember very well. But right now, that same Babbage is a co-Atlantic city. Somebody somewhere, a group of people decided, no, we can push this back. So this is where government has to start looking at it, because the locals living in this area, they cannot help themselves. This is going to take a whole lot of investment because this is infrastructure. It's going to take a whole lot of partnership. Now remember, we have our also neighboring country, Cameroon. Yes. They have a dam on that other side. When that dam is full, they have to open. So now, what is our collaboration with Cameroon? Because we were also supposed to build a similar thing on this side when we were building that one, because we didn't build it. So right now, this administration is saddled with flood issues. They didn't create it, but they have to solve it. So what infrastructure are we going to start putting on ground? Another typical example, during Fashola's time, Ikoyi used to be a no-go area. From Dolphin all the way to Falomo used to be a no-go area. Now, what's his name? Fashola built a canal through
dolphin estate into the lagoon. So these are infrastructure that government has to really invest in if we really want to save Benue, Kogi, Niger. But that's going to take a whole lot of money.
You see, government needs to, and I think we must be very specific this time. State governments.
Okay, good.
State government.
These are investments.
State government.
State and local, not just state and local government.
Yes, because it is important. FAC data just came out for the month of June. 1.8 trillion naira was shared.
1.91.
Between the states, the local, and the federal.
Highest ever.
Federal government took 624 billion. State government had about 602 billion. Local government had about 444 billion. Oil producing region had 120 billion of that money, just 1 month.
June.
Just 1 month. These are not borrowed money. These are money that are coming into the state. And I think that the state must be at the forefront of solving their problem. And it's quite important because we are talking about Lagos. Lagos is doing their work. We expect that the government in Anambra State, the government in Benue State, the government in Edo State, the government in Niger State should address those issues.
But some of those issues are bigger than them.
Yeah, but it's when you say it's bigger than them, there is a lot that state can do, even in collaboration with the federal government or even development agencies. We have found situations where states are partnering with World Bank for projects that does not add value. So if flooding is a major problem in your state and you can partner with donor agencies and they can help you fund it, it makes a lot of sense. So these are the issues that we must begin to put emphasis on. Because states are receiving more money now. And they are looking and seeing that nothing is happening. Because at the end of the day, all of us look to Abuja as if that the problem stays in Abuja. We must begin to look at what's happening to the money that is coming to our local governments, money that is coming to our state. What are they actually doing with it? Let's understand what they are doing. This is fundamental. And this is where we can begin to see the evidence and dividends of all the reforms that are going on. Because the macros are right, but the micros are wrong. Now the micro will not be right until the state do what they are doing. And this thing go down to the grassroots and people begin to feel the impact of what the state is. Make it a priority to ensure that you protect your people. It's not when disaster happens, then we now begin to look at, oh, federal government is not doing anything. I don't think that as a constitutional democracy, where state has a responsibility, they also must have to act and be proactive in terms of thinking. Eco-Atlantic was contained by Lagos state government.
Okay.
All right, let state start being proactive. Let's move on to the next story. Now, agriculture and food security. Governor Sanwo-Olu rallies governors Elumelu for 500 billion naira Lagos Food Initiative. Now, the Lagos state government on Wednesday unveiled a 500 billion naira produce for Lagos off-taker guarantee fund aimed at boosting food production and supply, reducing import and enhancing agricultural productivity in the country. Now, the unveiling and the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding with the partnering state was held at the Lagos House at Lausa, Ikeja. Present at the event were Governors Dako Abiodun of Ogun State, Usman Ododo of Kogi, Umar Bago of Niger, Agbu Kefers of Taraba, and Deputy Governor of Ondo State, Olajide Owolabi. Ekiti State Governor Biodu Oyebanji was represented. Chooks, what are your thoughts about this?
We've been shouting on this table on day in, day out. I think we will just raise our hands and say, thank God, now they are listening. Food security is far more important than military security. Yes. Now, for Lagos State to start this, and we see collaborations among states, it's a wake-up call to every other person out there. When I saw that picture and I saw the Niger State guy there, I said, good. you have money, we have land. Lagos State doesn't have the land Niger State has. Lagos State doesn't have the people that will get their hands dirty to do the farming like Niger State. So let's see that kind of collaboration. Niger State have told people, no matter where you are, it doesn't matter what you speak, it doesn't matter who you believe in or who you worship, as long as you can get into the farm, come, we'll give you land. As long as you can plant it, don't worry, at the end of the day, we'll buy it off you. Now Lagos State is plugging in. This is what we want to see across states. We shouldn't be waiting to import grain from Ukraine. We shouldn't be waiting for Netherlands to give us milk. No. We shouldn't be waiting for India to give us cow. No. We can get these things done ourselves. Now, let's also now start seeing local government as the end users of these funds, because we want to see them getting involved in specific farms, specific farmers. That is what we want to see now. The people on top have said, okay, good and fine, this is what we are working out. We are providing these funds. We are working as a group. Now let's see it trickle down to the real people that are going to do the work. Because they can't finish doing the work and some other people will just sitting down there waiting for a miracle to happen. No. Then also to our dear investors and private sector. Tonelu gave promise 25 million. A whole lot of other private initiatives are there. And mind you, it's not giveaway money. It's an investment. It's not as if maybe you're throwing your money away. It's an investment. If food is available and cheap, you'll get your money back. And if the president is looking for $1 trillion economy, this is just one means. So let's keep going there.
What's your thought?
Yeah, but I think, again, another first from Lagos State. It's unfortunate that Lagos State will have to always pioneer some of this innovative thinking. And I give it up to Governor Sanwo-Olu for that very brilliant thought. And it's not just one of those brilliant thoughts, because the last time I mentioned on this table and the president summoned Lagos to tell him something about the blue line, which is like something comparable to things happening overseas. And I think this is quite very, very good. And Lagos has been on this trajectory for a very long time. Remember the Lake Rice, of course, the partnership between Lagos and Kebbi to see. But when that failed, they decided to build their own biggest rice mill in Africa, of course, which is somewhere in Nigeria. And all these things are working toward getting those facilities to actually work. We can have rice processed. But I also advise that also Lagos must also see to how we can build cold storage facilities, so that all the tomatoes that we are wasting, all the mangoes in Benue State that are wasting, all the fruits that we waste during their season, and then, of course, when they are off-season, they become very expensive. We can begin to put them together and save them for the rainy day. And that is actually missing in Nigeria at the moment. We need a lot of investment in cold storage facilities. So while we are talking about off-taking, we're not sure how much we can off-take with 500 billion, but we also know that if we have cold storage facility where even farmers can also patronize to pull their stock, states could develop some of this infrastructure, and they will go a long way in actually keeping us in that trajectory of a stable economy. Because if you look at inflation figure, they are driven by food. And because food is also seasonal, it's not a 12-month round-the-clock kind of farming we're doing here. So in season, now you can't eat plantain because they are out of season. So if we can preserve some of all these things using the cold storage facility, it will be able to stabilize price, and then that will just be a huge macroeconomic gain for the entire nation. So it's important that what Lagos is doing is something that is beautiful. Other states must also just copy and paste, and then you'll find a lot happen. The same thing that happened with the Security Trust Fund years ago. That Lagos is one of the safest states in the country, because somebody thought it out that there was a need to invest even though they didn't have the state police, but they could collaborate with what federal government is doing, complement the effort of the federal government, clean up the environment, take away some of the things where it became hideout for criminals, and then, of course, the state became safer. So these are initiatives that are, for me, very commendable, and I think other states of the Federation must need to borrow a leaf from what Lagos is doing to also see how we can help farmers and encourage them to go to farm, you know, so that if they farm and they know that the product, somebody will buy it, and it will not be undervalued, they will be encouraged to go to farm. And if there are disasters that come maybe from the laws of nature, then they are also sure that there's a help that is coming from somewhere. And this is a huge inspiration and motivation for the agricultural sector in Nigeria.
All right, coming to you, Chooks. Doc also made mention or reminded us of the lake rise and how it came to an end. Looking at this new initiative, do you think it's sustainable on a long term?
Yes, it's very sustainable. The land is not going to run. I don't know. And I keep saying this, most people don't understand. As long as you are born in this country, farming comes to you naturally. Now, most people think it's not difficult. It's just having the willpower to step into that particular place. It's very sustainable. But what we would need to also look at is, the doc has talked about storage. We need a whole lot of that. Then we need a lot of transportation too. The rails need to work. We appeal to, this is not the federal government, not state government. Federal government should also prioritize rail system, because we don't need to start trucking yam from Benue to Lagos. It costs a lot, a whole lot. The logistics is too much. Now, we can't take barley, we can't take grains, rice specifically, from the north to come to Lagos to mill. No, trucks can't do that. That is waste of money, not cost a lot, that is waste of money. But if we have train services, they can load an entire train and send it to Lagos to go and mill. Or on the contrary, we can't have the mill in Lagos and the farm is too far. So it's very possible, but now let's start working out the logistics. So if transportation, okay, money is going to meet transportation, is going to meet farmers. So that particular chain will just work.
All right, let's move on to the next story, which is quite interesting. United States exported more crude oil to Nigeria than it imported, driven largely, I beg your pardon, by reduced refinery activities in the United States and increased demand from newly operational Dangote refinery. Now, data from the United States Energy Information Administration shows Nigeria imported 111,000 barrels per day in February and 169,000 barrels per day in March 2025, while U.S. imports from Nigeria dropped to 54,000 barrels per day and 72,000 barrels per day, respectively. Experts say the shift reflects short-term supply dynamics rather than a permanent change in trade flows. Maintenance at Phillips 66 Bayway Refinery in New Jersey slowed U.S. demand, while Dangote Refinery, with a planned capacity of 700,000 barrels per day, ramped up its operations and temporarily sourced up to 10 million barrels of U.S. crude monthly. Analysts expect the trend to ease as both refineries resume regular operations and Nigeria increases its domestic crude supply. Chooks.
Yes. Now, it's not every day that Obi will be a boy. Obi will grow. Nigeria will grow. The last time we read, we were talking about Trump and his tariff for Nigeria. They should calm down. We are coming. This market will dance. Let's give it 2 years. Some other refineries will come on board. We will demand more. Let's give it that same 2 years. We'll have a good reforms in the drilling sector. Not just the drilling sector itself. We'll be able to produce more for our refineries. We'll import less from them. So we want to see more of exportation of refined product. That will pay us more. Because for that same crude, we are churning out several other products. And we are exporting to different countries. Yes, we need the FX, but it's a matter of time. Things will definitely get better. But let's not worry.
You know, this was what Dangote, the statement accredited to Dangote, which says that over 90 Africans rather, are losing over $90 billion
importing from finished product from outside Africa.
Do you think this justifies it?
Of course, yes. He was saying the fact that has been there all along. But right now, let's break all those walls of Africa trading and trade amongst ourselves.
Doctor, what do you think?
Well, I think it's for me a challenge that the Nigerian government needs to actually rise up to. Yet, in the past, there were no significant investment in the crude, in the upstream sector of the Nigerian petroleum. Somebody said that before 2023, you had about less than 10 rigs that were actually in full operation. But as we speak now, about 40 rigs are work ready. So what that means is that we can actually ramp up. We can't have crude under our feet and then we're importing crude. And I don't think that's a nice story. If we even need to, let's even say we have maximized us like the US used to do, and they are buying a reserve for the future. But now they are unleashing their reserve and they are willing to sell. Because you see, and this is where a lot of comparison that we do sometimes when we do analysis about our issues, we don't look at the figures rightly. Nigeria, a population of over 200 million people, we're doing less than 2 million barrels per day. And whereas Saudi Arabia, there's not up to 100 million people, they're doing over 10 million barrels daily. And then we are comparing Saudi Aramco with NNPC. You see, so it's like comparing apple with orange. So this is where we need to ramp up to understand that if we were actually to divide the number of earnings from crude per population, it gives you the PPP for the Nigerian, the purchasing power parity for Nigerians. That's how it's going to look like. But many times we don't even look at those issues when we are analyzing the problem of the country, so to speak. And I think that we need to close that gap so that we can have drilling done here, really, that all the refineries, those that are already working, those that are coming on stream, can actually begin to take crude from NNPC. And that, of course, will go a long way in bringing succor to the poor Nigerians, because what that means is that price become cheaper. You are talking about again the cost of logistics from the US down to Nigeria for the crude, and then you are factoring that into cost of production. So if we now start to sell from here to here, the cost will drop, and then of course it also affects or enhance the buying power of the average Nigerian. So this for me is what it is. Nigeria must look toward that. NNPC must also think how to create the enabling environment for a lot of people to put resource into the upstream sector, and we can see a lot of drilling happening even in the high water, so that we can also leverage the advantage of what nature has given to us.
All right, Chooks, your final thoughts.
We are Nigerians, and hey, we are the best set of people on earth. You can take that to the bank. Doctor, you have to smile on this one.
Still able to smile.
We have to be positive. No matter what we see, no matter what is happening, we have to be positive. We need more of the Dangotes, because people have the monies either lodged in foreign accounts or somewhere else. Invest those monies in Africa. Invest those monies in Nigeria. And for African leaders, it's time to break those boundaries, those borders that are in their heads or in somebody else's paper. Break them. You shouldn't be going outside Africa to go take PMX when there's a Dangote here. You shouldn't be going outside Africa to go get chocolate when there is Ghana there. We need to trade amongst ourselves. That is the way forward.
All right, Doc, your final thoughts.
Well, it's been quite a day talking about Africa, indeed Nigeria. The best is yet to come. I believe that we must believe in Nigeria is our project, and everybody must support the Nigerian project, irrespective of our individual ambition, and let Nigeria matter more to us than our private ambitions.
Let's all support the Nigerian dream, and Nigeria must matter to us more than our personal projects. This is where we will round off Souk Business Landscape. It's been a pleasure staying with us. Don't forget you can also follow us on all our social media platforms. Comment, like, and share on Souk News Television. I am Olumide Shokoya. Chooks.
My name is Chooks John Rogers. Let's do this again tomorrow. Have yourself a nice day.
Osama Zaid Hausa is my name. See you again tomorrow.
Take Nigeria because it's the mind that needs to first of all be rebranded.
He said he's going to be putting Nigerian labor, Nigeria content and materials first.
If you say Nigeria first and it is just us down here that, you know, are pushing that agenda, it's going to be a big struggle.
Do you think Nigerian firms, Nigerian organizations should start looking at getting their staff involved in this market or buying to keep for their staff?
Within this side, let's also learn citizen diplomacy. See something. This is Souk Business Landscape.